Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag Side Quest, episode 33 Immortals Preview. I
I
am
like
the
what you
one.
did there.
Thank you. I am the one who is leading this rebellion. Andrew, with me, the one I constantly feel like I am stuck in purgatory with, Keith.
That's me. Hello.
And we are doing a two-man show. But yes, we played 33. Well, so I've played 33 Mortals earlier before, but it has officially hit Game Pass, but it's like Game Pass preview. So we were tempted to do a full episode, but I was like, you know what? This is pretty preview, so we should probably maybe just do a smaller episode on this. But 33 Mortals is brought to you by Thunder Lotus Games. Keith, do you remember they've done I think only one other game. Do you remember what game it was?
You always do this to me.
It also has to deal with the afterlife.
Oh, is it going to be Curse of the Dead Gods or
No,
Hades?
no, you're gonna be kind of a hard time figuring out. But it is Spiritfarer. Remember that cozy game where
Oh,
you are, on a boat?
yes. Yeah,
Yeah, that was
it's
the
like a
game.
cult classic. I always
It's
see
more
that
than a
pop
cult
up and like,
classic.
yeah, maybe. I mean, that's probably the wrong phrasing for it. But I just, yeah, anytime I see like game recommendation posts on Reddit, like those pop up somewhere, as long as it's at least applicable if someone's asking specific genre or something.
Oh, so I just pulled up Thunder Lotus. Uh, I, I'm curious if this is. Can you guess how many employees work at Thunder Lotus?
Oh man, now you're gonna put me on the spot. Well, this is just a guess. 10.
Keith, come on. What game did we play? What are we talking about here, Keith?
30, oh, 33.
They have 33 employees. I'm curious if this is how they got the name for the game.
I mean, maybe.
I mean, this is, of course, according to their Wikipedia.
As I say, you got to be real committed to keeping those employees because
I
if
know.
you add or lose them, it becomes weird real quick. Like, do we change the name of the game?
Because I mean, because I was curious of like, how did they come up with 33? Were they like, maybe 34? Oh, no, this is too easy. This is too many players. Maybe 32? Oh, this is too hard. Like, why
well,
33?
I mean, in all fairness, the way they go with the difficulties, the 33, 22, 11, it's the multiples thing. So I guess that at least they wanted a good divisible number.
Yeah, but when you do 30, 20, 10, I feel like that's the most logical.
I mean, probably, but just saying.
That's why I'm assuming, I guess it's based off their number of employees.
No, I'd believe it. I'd believe that.
But yeah, so Thunder Lotus Games, which, yeah, I can't believe they did this game after Spiritfarer. Spiritfarer is a very cozy game, and it's very heavy in its topic, as opposed to 33 Mortal, which is a 33-player co-op roguelike game where you are playing as an immortal spirit who is rising up against the gods or God to fight back. I don't quite get why as we get into the story, but the game literally has a opening cutscene of like, hey, your life is ended. You're now entering the spirit world, but it's not the end. Let's rise up and have a rebellion. And you just go with it. Your character doesn't speak. You're just like, all right, cool, we're doing this thing. And that's the story of 33 Immortals so far.
Yeah, I guess I was maybe not surprised, but I know, I don't know. I kind of actually I took it to be so when you're talking to Beatrice, she's like the main one who's like guiding you even when you start the game the very first time and you're doing like this first kind of trial run of it all. She does mention, like, she says it as God, if I recall. Like, so it's like they're because it's kind of interesting. Like, all the NPCs are different, like, poets. So there's Dante, Virgil, Beatrice.
Well, is Beatrice a poet?
I believe so. This
But
is
then
like
there's
a
Charon.
really
Charon was always the
yeah,
farrier
which
across the river Styx.
um, but yeah, Beatrice Portinari, at least. I literally just googled Beatrice poet, so I'm not saying this as though I know who this person is. But yeah, there's some. It's referencing Purgatorio, Divine Comedy, so that all checks out. Some are related to that. So I guess it's all there's at least that. So immediately when I'm introduced to these characters, I'm like, oh, this is Hades, but instead of Greek mythology, it's like
It's more
uh,
Christian or
yeah, I think. Well,
Catholic.
yeah, I was gonna say I think it's Catholic because Divine Comedy, I believe, falls under Catholicism.
Yeah,
But
Dante's
all,
Inferno. Yeah,
yeah, Dante's Inferno. And so all that to say, I just immediately was like, oh, this is kind of like Hades, but just a slightly different um, theology, basically, of what it's
yeah.
built on. But for it being a game preview, I honestly I don't think that's going to really develop much more of a story than what we have. I think there'll probably be a lot more dialogue sequences similar to a game like the storyline of what Hades did. Is it just introduces more characters and you have a lot more intertwining dialogues between them all. But as it stands, it's there was more to it than I expected because that another thing I remember her saying in one of the dialogue boxes, it was something to the effect of, at least from like her telling it, is like that God is like tricking humans, and so like or basically trying to like it's enslaving them essentially, and so it's about fighting back against that. But what that is specifically, they don't really get into from what I saw.
But since we're kind of on also the topic of Beatrice, did you? I don't know. Was her face bothering you? I don't know if you noticed. All the other characters, I felt like actually look hyper detailed and realistic. And then I looked
I'll
at her
look it
and I'm
up
like,
right
her
now.
face looks unfinished. But I
It's
asked
in
Liz,
the.
and I have it up here side by side for
Oh, you
those
do.
who are watching. I did not think of this, but Liz pointed
It's not
out
showing on me.
that
I'm
she
looking.
looks a lot like Caitlin Olsen from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, just darker skin.
Okay.
And when she pointed that out, I was like, I actually really see that. But yeah, I found her face to be a little weird. But yeah, so far I'm a little disappointed in the story
Oh yeah.
because Spiritfarer had a fantastic story. It was dealing with kind of you are helping these spirits basically ferry off into the afterlife, and so you're kind of helping them complete their unfinished business. And it was a very heavy topic, and it had great emotion. In this, it was just very much just like, yeah, you're rebelling against God, and have at it. Which I guess this is a roguelike, and that's what you're kind of doing in roguelikes anyway. It's always a stories of mean to an end. But yeah, from just the pedigree of the studio, though, I'm just a little disappointed in the story so far.
True, but if you're looking at the version number of the game, so I think this is going to be in game preview for quite a while. I would guess,
At
unless they've already
least
given a set.
at least until fall.
Yeah, because it was like a 0.60,
Yeah.
which means we're pretty far away from 0.10.
So
I would have to imagine there's going to be a lot more to come. And excuse me, crap.
so I don't know if you noticed when you booted the game up, but you can select at the bottom there is a roadmap.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice that. No.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I can pull it up, but I at least remember. So at least with the roadmap, so coming this spring, which obviously is right around the corner, the next patch they're doing is going to be a lot of quality of life stuff, fixing stability issues and bug fixes and whatnot, and maybe adjusting some stuff. Come the summer, they are releasing some new weapons, new enemies, new mastery system,
Okay.
and come the fall is when the third area. So, sorry, probably should have led with this. Currently with this game, there is 2 out of 3 areas that are currently playable. You have Inferno, Purgatorio, and the last one's Paradiso, which is not out yet. So there's only 2 out of 3. And so, yeah, come the fall is when that was. It didn't say it's going to be the 1.0 patch, but I assume once they release that, it would possibly be the 1.0 patch.
I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I guess yeah. If it depends on what more they have play into the game, but I feel like even if you got to that point, that I mean, what's it gonna do? Cut it down to like you start as a solo roguelike, and you
Yeah.
have to do that whole entire thing by yourself.
Yeah, here it is. This is the roadmap. So yeah, spring they have bug stability, balancing, adding accessibility options, control rebinding, and graphic settings. That's coming in spring. In summer, it's private sessions. That would be cool. I mean, I don't know if we could do it, but could you imagine if we got 33 listeners here? We all just did a big old room. That'd be cool. You can
That would.
decorate the Dark Woods, which is the hub world. Additional trainings, which yeah, I thought that was odd. Did you do the training, Keith?
I did one of them, but I immediately got annoyed that I had to go through a load screen each time,
Yeah,
and then it was just a lot of dialogue for very minimal training. I was like, oh, I've actually know all of this by like
yeah,
second time. I take that back. I didn't fully understand how the co-op abilities works just by reading it, which seems stupid. But once I actually watched that, I was like, oh, this makes complete sense. And I was still just annoyed that I had to go through a different load screen for it.
yeah. I love this game's in preview, and they only have there's the three trading options. There's basic, which is very much movement, how to attack, how to do a heavy attack, how to activate your co-op ability. Like that's it. Like and how to
Which
dash.
is also how it opens you up in the game. So why
Yeah, I
would I go
know.
do
Yeah,
a
you were
additional
kind of
training for that?
revisiting it. I thought that was weird, but you got a treasure chest, which gave you some of the like tokens you need to like level up your perks. So I was like, all right, I guess
Well,
I'm doing this again.
so I know Aaron's not here, so this is good because I don't have to get into a fight about this. But this is something that I want to. I immediately thought when I was playing this, and it was weird. Not the gameplay itself, but the way that the marketing's like the market of it worked with the daily quests and all of that grinding. I immediately got mobile game vibes, but the gameplay is nothing like that. It's a console game. It is a roguelike. It
Yeah.
is it's where it should be. It's just that system of it. Immediately, it's like this is weird. Where it was like you can do 3 daily missions a day. You know, at 15 you get a chest.
Well, it's
What?
interesting if you think about it. I mean, this
But
is a a live service. That's the word I'm looking for. A live
it's
service
well, is it going to
roguelike.
be live service though? Like,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think they
obviously
plan on
there's
adding more
updates coming
stuff.
along with it, but like, so with live service, that wouldn't. It doesn't have to have a battle pass, but you would typically imagine if we're going to call it a live service game, you're going to assume it's going to have a battle pass
It wouldn't
associated with it.
surprise me if they do.
And mind you, I guess I will say it would seem they're moving quickly if by fall they were trying to get to a 1.0 patch. But then you're talking about constant updates, and I would like to see this be a game that has constant evolving and growing content, but there's got to be some cap to it somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. So
I don't
live
know.
service feels pretty far stretched as a goal, but I'm willing to go with it and see what they do if that's what they want it to be.
Yeah, I'm assuming because this. I mean, like you said, they have daily quests, so this is definitely a game. You know, they want and hoping that you'll keep bringing your friends back to, and that you guys are kind of playing a run and stuff like that. So it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it's a small studio with 33 employees, so I doubt it's. I think it'll be like a pseudo live service because yeah, I highly doubt they're gonna be like, here's our winter event because with 33 employees, like that's gonna be a struggle.
I mean, unless basically you had, and it would still ultimately then you'd be talking like 8 events, but like one season or like 4 seasonal events a year, but had like 2 runs of it, and then you just alternate them back and forth. Like every other year, you get this same 2 winter events. I don't know. Either way, I'm with you. I don't think I could see it being like here's these different events so much as maybe some new content drops here and there, but if anything, more DLC.
Maybe, but I mean, it sounds like so. It sounds like there's going to be a lot because look at it here. They have for the summer they have an ordeal system. I don't know what that is, but there's going to be
You
new
know,
feats, and it sounds like
did
they're going to be adding more like mastery kind of stuff that you can work with.
fit. No, that's fair. I just realized I think you started to talk about the gameplay and then we got sidetracked with the roadmap. And we never actually explained how 33 Immortals works. We
I
just went,
know,
hey, this is some of the stuff they're adding to a
I
game
know.
you know nothing about.
All right, you're right. Sorry about that, listeners. All right,
Hey,
so
I'm just as at fault.
so 33 Immortals. As I said, this is a 33 player online co-op roguelike. So you are playing a spirit and you don't have classes, but you have different weapons. So before you even enter your run, you pick, which currently there's four. I'm assuming they're adding up to eight because there's four pedestals that are empty. So I'm assuming there's going to be eight weapons, but you have four right now. You have daggers, dual daggers, a bow, a great sword, and a staff. But how it plays is, you go up to the portal, it instantly throws you into a room with people, which was very quick. But basically, you are populating a very large map, and you are automatically put in essentially kind of a squad of about eight people, eight or nine. It kind of varied, but you're dropped at some location on this map. So you can pull up your map and you can see the other 33 people where they're running around. And in the top right corner is a live counter to how many people are still alive out of the 33. If you die once, you go into a spirit form, you can be revived at least once. If you have a currency, you can extend that. But your main objective is you're trying to go around this map with ideally with people. This game is very much encouraging you to stick with teammates because you get extra damage. You can help each other do co-op moves. And so it's very enticing to stick with people, but you don't have to. You can do your own thing. But you're going around, you're killing monsters, and you're gathering this dust, which is essentially experience points. Once you fill up an orb, you can level up, improve one of your attributes during this run, and eventually a dungeon will pop up. In the first map, Inferno, there are 12 dungeons that have to be completed. Only 6 people can enter that dungeon at a time. If someone fully dies in it, someone else can jump in and continue. But if you're at a dungeon and if you can't get in that dungeon, it's full. This is already one thing I like about this game. You're not kind of stuck doing nothing and twiddling your thumbs. You can just keep killing random bad guys to get more experience points to level up your character for this run. But if you do get in a dungeon and you complete it, you will get a item, which is essentially like a run perk. Increased damage. Oh, if you get below a certain health, your damage goes up. Your dash has a shorter cooldown. You can regenerate health every 5 seconds. So it's very enticing to do these dungeons because you want to get one of these items. But if your team succeeds and you're able to kill all 12 dungeons, you eventually will go to a big fight. You beat the big fight, and then you get to the boss, which the first boss is Lucifer. I keep wanting to call him Hades. But yeah, it's a huge, huge, huge boss. I have yet to beat him. I've challenged him, I think, 6 times. He's very difficult. Because, as you're playing that first run, if ideally, I mean, it never happens, but if you can get 33 people, yeah, I'm sure you could probably beat or Lucifer pretty quickly. But I think the most I've ever had is 19 people with me.
Dang, that's actually a pretty good number.
Yeah.
I had 11. I made it once, and there was 11 of us, and it was my very first run, and I don't even think I've sniffed it since.
Wow. But
But I mean, if you've made it there 6 times, you've probably played a decent chunk more runs than I have.
yeah, I actually played this game quite a bit the past 2 days. But yeah, so as you're doing these runs, you'll get tokens, some for cosmetics, some will unlock new perks. Once you go back to the main hub world, you get these currency called shards. You can upgrade your perks, upgrade your character. You have milestones. Once you complete these milestones, you permanently increase your character's damage or their health. So every time you're doing a run, your character's progressively getting stronger. So you just jumping
So
back
that
in.
makes this a rogue light, right? Because it's
Yeah.
meta progression.
Yes.
This was a genuine question because I always stumble on this, and I think I'm
Roguelite,
finally locking it in.
roguelike. But yes, it is categorized as a roguelite or roguelike, one of them, either one.
Yeah, light. I think light is the one that's all about the meta progression.
Yeah. So, like I said, ideally you could try to lone wolf a lot of this game, but a lot of the enemies are super beefy, and this game does a very good job enticing you to play co-op, but you don't have to. And I think that's one thing I really liked about this game so far is I felt like it strikes a nice balance.
I think that's what nails it on the head for me, because that was my immediate first thought is there's just so few multiplayer games out there that I wouldn't say none, but there's so few that are even at a scale of say 6 to 12, like, hey, it's fully co-op in this experience. It's largely usually like 2 to 4 if you're doing that, and it's fun,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't get these large scale co-op games, and so that you feel like you're always working towards the same goal. Like maybe Diablo is one of the closer to it, but you're not really that one. You're encouraged to do solo, whatever you feel like doing.
Yeah.
It was like I realized that very quickly, like you said, Andrew, this game does not encourage you to go play by yourself. Like you can easily kill the monsters. You can, and this could
Yeah,
change.
combat's not hard.
Like it could change, over time with some balancing, I'm sure. But as it stands right now, they're pretty easily compatible. That you can kind of just kite them around, and if you have a ranged weapon, especially, you do a good amount of damage. But one of my favorite features of the game is the combo hit feature, because it doesn't even just say, "Hey, like we're gonna give you a bonus." So essentially, it's a multiplier that stacks up your critical strike chance if you and another player are attacking the same exact enemy. And I think you have to hit them at the same time. Even it's like,
No, I think there's like a couple second window.
okay, but yeah,
Yeah,
essentially either like it rewards you for attacking the same enemies, not just
yeah,
fighting together. Even like really focusing on these enemies, which is great for bosses, obviously. But I was like, what a cool feature of, again, like really encouraging people that at all points you're trying to work together. It's not like sometimes you could even take a co-op game and make it sweaty of like, well, I'm gonna be the best on the server. It doesn't matter. You all just want to win, and it kind of kicks your butt, and it's hard to get to the end no matter how good you are at the game. So like you have to play these. And it was funny, like even as I played a couple runs and I started to figure out what I was doing, I started doing worse, because then I was like, okay, now I'm just gonna run to this next portal. It doesn't matter that I haven't been able to get a key, so I won't be able to open, because there's two chests if you beat it, but one
yeah,
you need a key for. Like, I don't care if I have a key, I'm just going in there. I have half my health. Or I've already died once. Stupid crap like that, because I wanted that sweet juice. I wanted to get the rewards at the end of the thing. And so I just found myself dying more and more, whereas the first time I made it to the end because I had no idea what I was doing. I think I joined one portal because I accidentally walked by it and I was like, oh, this looks cool, and we beat it. And then when the end came and all of a sudden the just map starts closing, it's like, I don't know what the
yeah.
heck's going on, but
The
I'm just gonna
ascension
start running.
battle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so like once you hit this, it funnels you into the center of the map, or some, I think it's the center of the map, with an essentially like a battle royale style fire that engulfs the entire map. And I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. I have no idea when I'm going to stop running, but I'm going to keep running until I think
yeah,
I can. And then you get there, and it's what, like 50 enemies in
yeah.
the
It's like a
tiniest
full
little
screen.
circle.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's absolutely madness. And so, like in our Discord, I think it was Kel who, or it was Kel who had mentioned that he didn't really care for like the kind of madness of it. But and he did say that this is a Keith game, and I think this is part of the reason I was all about it. Like I was like, I have no idea
yeah,
what's happening, but this is great. This is fun. I'm here for it.
yeah. I This game hooked me pretty quick too, because like you were kind of saying, Keith, like it's cool that this is a multiplayer game, but also a single player game, kind of. Because like we've played a lot of multiplayer games: Overwatch, Apex Legends, Diablo, Marvel Rivals. Like a lot of these, yes, you can play by yourself, but when you're getting stuck with random people, it's a miserable time. But in this, it's like there's 33 people. I feel like I'm not like, oh, I'm stuck, I'm in the squad with a bunch of little kids, I'm gonna have a bad run, this stinks. No, I can wander off on my own, do my own thing. Like I never felt hindered. Like I said, it encourages you to be with people, but I didn't feel like I had to. And it hit like a sweet spot for me where, like, if I'm at least focusing on myself, I'm leveling up my character and get to the end, like I'm going to do my best in order to help fight Lucifer, and maybe we can win this game.
Well,
I
that's what,
like that balance.
and I think another function of that too is the kind of single slash multiplayer aspect of it that you had mentioned, and I think that's a good way to put it. Because like it in games like, Marvel, whatever, you made the list, those games, someone can just start trolling, and
Yeah.
and it just immediately ruins the experience, and then you get nothing from it, you lose. It's just frustrating. If someone were to troll and just go off and die in this, you're like, okay, cool, there's 32 of us, let's just carry on, everybody, and I'm still going to get my shards, even if, again, you get all the way to Lucifer, which, by all means, if you want to put in the time and effort to get what, probably 30 minutes into it, get to the end of Lucifer and then try to troll and somehow screw everyone over, that's an a-hole move. But it probably still isn't going to make a difference, because the game just really doesn't have a way for you to do it.
No.
no matter what you do.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what makes it so perfect is they just don't give you a method to screw everyone else over in the game, and everyone can just carry on around you. So
So
people aren't going to be encouraged to do it.
So I got nervous. I thought there was a way to troll. So the ascension battles. So once you kill the 12 dungeons, as Keith was saying, it's called an ascension battle where you're all supposed to gather at a point and just the screen gets filled with enemies. There's actually 3 areas you can do ascension battles. So when you pull up the map, you can kind of see the maps cut out in 3 sections. So each section has an area where you can do an ascension battle. And I had one run where about 12 of us were at one location, and one guy went solo to another location to do an ascension battle by himself. So we completed our battle and we were done and waiting for to go on to Lucifer, but he was the only one stuck in the map. And he literally is just running around. He's not even fighting. So I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, are we all going to be stuck watching this kid? But after a while, it doesn't show a timer, but eventually the map just closed in on him and killed him. So yeah, like you said, it already has implementations of an anti-troll maneuvers going on. Because yeah, even if you got to Lucifer, like all these bosses will have a unblockable attack that just hits you if you do not do a thing. So this game does have anti-troll stuff already going on, which is great.
Yeah, I didn't immediately pick up on too, and you said it, I think it was like the maybe third or fourth round I played. I at least figured it out, but the way that it groups you out into these different sections just to start, because gosh, sorry, take out my throat tonight. But like, what another thing in what I think is interesting about 33 Immortals, it makes it unique, is this open world aspect to it. It's like you're plopped into it, and there's just all these different events, like you said, that you can run around and do. I had no idea how to like what I was looking for on the map when I was dropped into it. So I think if they're going to add to the trainings, that would be some great things to do into the training. Like, here's how to read your map and what you're looking for in 33 Immortals. That said, it didn't take me very long to figure out.
Yeah, I found this game pretty easy to learn. Like the weapons are pretty simple. They all kind of work relatively the same. The only thing that's semi tricky and weird is the bow, because the bow you have to shoot, but then you have to recall your arrows. So if you don't have any arrows, you're not able to shoot. So that was the only one that's kind of tricky. But besides that, it was like, oh, this is very easy to kind of learn.
Yes, that threw me off, and I don't know if it was a just a bug or a feature. Either way, it didn't bother me. It just took me a second to figure out. Was I ran out of bows on the upper surface and then went into a portal, and I still couldn't shoot. It like it makes sense that they were left up there, but I actually had to hit the recall button still to reload, essentially, even though it was before I entered the portal. So hot tip,
And,
I guess. But
and you ran out of arrows, not bows.
you're right. That is correct.
But yeah, so I've so far I am digging this gameplay. It's and like I said, I like the roguelike element of like constantly improving my character and kind of doing that. I will say so far with the perk system, the perks are relatively simple. Um, I'm hoping they're coming out. Like I said, they said they're coming with an ordeal system, and I know eventually you can adjust the weapons, but you have to hit a certain milestone, which I'm very close. I'm like one level away, but so I haven't quite seen how you can adjust the weapons. But I would like a little bit more customization. I wish there was also a bit more. I hope the new weapons that come up with have a bit more co-op element. I would love if there was like some sort of like bard type class that's a bit more support and like able to help
Yes,
teammates.
healing was something that I was desperately looking for, and I think that's part of the gameplay too. So I'm like, I don't think they're gonna add like I think the lack of healing, or not lack, but
Yeah,
um
I mean, I'd be okay if they didn't add a healing, but it'd be cool if there was like a damage buffer or a defense buffer
true.
kind of thing, something like that. I'm
Yeah, but
assuming. Go ahead.
I was gonna say too. You said there's no classes, and I don't know that they're technically classes still, but I would partially contest it. At the least, when you look at the weapons, it
Oh, that's
kind of
true.
gives a class. Like
Yeah,
so you have the two-handed sword. It says tank.
the bow and
The
the dagger
staff.
say fighter, and then the staff says specialist.
I think the bow actually says range.
Oh,
But either way, like it kind of describes it, but more. in a sense of like, I don't know, description of the weapon, but I thought that was kind of an interesting aspect because it is a little bit like how I saw what I was supposed to be doing with it. Like
Yeah.
when I wasn't doing a ton of damage with the staff, I was like, okay, that's fine. I shouldn't be raising my damage so much. I need to be raising, what is it, the empathy,
Yep. So you
which
have
they don't
three.
fully explain. And I still don't know that I
Yeah.
fully understand, but I think it's a co-op thing, obviously.
Yep. So here's a pro tip. Virgil in the main hub world is the compendium person. Go to them. So yeah, they explain what the traits are. Obviously, attack increases your damage, vitality increases your health. So empathy is the third trait, and empathy increases your co-op strike ability. So each weapon has a special co-op strike. The bow, if you and two other partners step on a circle, it shoots a volley of arrows. The tank summons three circles as well. If you step in it, you get a bubble shield that lasts forever. It just has health on it. The staff summons a big old smoke that slows enemies, and then the daggers. Uh, Only two people get it, but anytime you hit somebody, you get a bones, which are run currencies that you get to buy keys and heal yourself. But also, depending how many bones you have, you do extra damage for that short time. So yeah, it is kind of nice of like having these. So empathy will increase the duration of those skills. So if you get a bubble shield from
Okay.
the tank, normally its base health is 20, but if you have extra empathy points, it'll have more health on it.
Okay, that
Yeah,
makes sense because I wasn't quite sure how it worked, but I know that I leveled up the staff and it added empathy. So that was my other like, okay, empathy is the stat that I should be focusing on for the staff.
yeah.
But
For the
that makes
staff,
more
it
sense.
makes the cloud last longer when it like slows people.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
there was one portal I was in and someone activated the staff skill right as one of the bosses was doing a charge and he just got caught in the corner and couldn't exit,
yeah,
which I think is like the way that it works is they
yep,
actually like freeze in place. It doesn't
yeah.
just even slow them down. I think they might be able to attack, but either way, yeah, he was like in a mid charge and he just froze. All right, well, easy wipe for us.
Yeah, in which very important. If you ever fight Lucifer, go to Virgil. She'll explain what all the attacks are because it doesn't tell you in the game. You're literally thrown in this fight and just things are blown up on the screen. Like things are just going on. Like it's not just oh you beat the guy, you just smash his face and that's it. No, he summons minions that you have to kill, which will create safe zones, and then yeah, so you got to read on his attacks, which would
See,
be nice if they told you that in the tutorial.
what do you mean safe zones? I'm guessing it's nothing crazy. I just so I like obviously I've fought the minions he summoned.
Yeah, he summons some blue minions, and if you kill
Yeah.
all three of them, he has three heads, and once you'll see a bar underneath his health that's him casting the spell, and if you don't kill
Yes.
those minions before that timer's up, he'll do an attack that completely fills the arena, so it's unavoidable, unblockable. You're gonna get hit, but if you kill all the minions, his three heads, two of the heads will glow, one does not, that will indicate where the safe zone will be. So as you're beating his face will light up and you'll go, oh, the left side is going to be the safe zone. So you can kind of shift over to the left side because then when he does that attack, there won't be any damage on the left side.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I, I mean, here's the nice thing about this, though, at least as far as that aspect is concerned, without understanding how that worked, I was able to easily get myself to the. Now, I was playing as the staff at this point, so I had range, but I was pretty easily able to get out of the zone just with the timing it gave me, right? Of like, hey, here's your warning. The zone's going to be a damage zone here, big red indicator, and I could just dodge out of it. And then at the very least, after he did it like twice, it'd be like, okay, the next time I know this is a pattern. And I started to at least understand that I didn't know how the pattern set up or even that there was one, but that's good to know.
Yeah.
Because then
So,
because that also explains how I got wiped because we didn't kill all three of them, which meant there would be no safe zones, right?
yep. Yep.
And then he did like the whole zone attack.
Yep.
And it just,
And it does a lot of damage.
yeah, well, I was already had been down, so I was on 25 health and
Yeah. I've
that's
gotten
the end
so
of it.
close to beating him. So when you fight Lucifer, he has 10 whole health bars. I've gotten him down to the last two. That's the closest I've gotten to beating him.
I
Even if you
think we
don't
knocked
kill
off
him,
4.
I think if you just get his health halfway down, you unlock keys to go to the next zone. So I have keys. I played a little bit of Purgatory or
Okay.
Purgatorio. So you don't need to kill Lucifer in order to unlock the next zone. But yeah, to play the next zone, you need to get the keys, and they're consumable. So I have 4 keys, so that means I can only do the zone 4 times, 4 tries, and it's significantly harder.
So like you need that beefed up because I was curious
Yeah,
about that. If you've gotten this much further, like, do you feel stronger when you're out fighting, like
yeah.
in the open world, or they're like to the point where you feel like you could fight a little bit more solo?
I
Because
definitely feel
like,
like I can fight solo like a
because
bit
at the
more.
very least, right now, I think the biggest difference I made the and I so I say I recognize that empathy is what I need to, but I still had damage because I have dumb brain and I'm like, I need to do more damage too. Doesn't
No,
matter
damage.
about
You can never go wrong with damage.
exactly. So I'm like, my numbers need to go up too. So I'm gonna do more damage. But I noticed it a little bit with the staff, and especially when I was getting like those crit bonuses, because I think I got up to like a maybe like a 30 or something like that. And so you're just hitting crit after crit. And that's where I felt like I noticed damage. But overall, I wasn't sure. But I also, I think, only leveled up my damage perk once. And I only have one perk. So I don't have a ton of things going on. And I was just curious if I really started to feel it as I added a bunch more of them.
Right now, my character like base stats are I'm like 8 attack, 2 vitality, and like 3 empathy.
Okay.
I have 2 perks. I equip the attack perk, so that's why my attack's a little bit higher. And then I have a perk where I have a 30% chance of dropping rare items instead of
Oh,
just
that's
getting the
pretty
common
awesome.
items. Yeah, so it's super helpful. But yeah, no, I do notice that I can fight like the random mobs on the like open world much easier on my own. But is the
Okay.
staff your favorite weapon?
So I don't I think I might have skipped the heavy sword.
The
I
heavy
don't know
sword's pretty
why.
sweet
Is it because
because
I
it
did the
blocks. It's the only
daggers?
one that blocks.
Yeah, and that was what interested me about it. I think after I've tried the daggers first, well, first as a melee weapon of those two, and I was really struggling with the daggers, and mostly not like in terms of I just felt like I wasn't doing any damage. Like I would just not be getting close enough, and I was trying to like play too safe. So I wasn't having a lot of fun with the daggers, and I just figured I'd have about the same with the two-handed sword. The bows are all right, I thought, and it's a really cool idea of how it works with like the recall and everything. There's fun things you can do with it, but my favorite, yeah, I think was the staff.
See, I think I enjoy the daggers the most. The daggers actually a little hard. So every
Yeah,
weapon
I
has, basic X attack, hold X to do a harder, like heavy attack, and then Y is kind of a specialty. So like the bow is to recall the arrows. For the sword, it's a block. For the staff, as Key said, you shoot a AOE like wave in front of you that slows enemies. But the daggers, you do a leaping strike, and the leap is actually very far, so it's kind of hard to hit enemies. But if you can hit enemies, it does a ton of damage, and it can usually stun them in one hit.
the
But I
leap
I enjoy the
was what I
daggers.
was struggling with,
Yeah,
and I knew it was good. I couldn't. I was struggling to use it well, so I was just like, I don't know. I could probably learn this, but I didn't want to.
yeah.
So I can see there being kind of a little bit of a difficulty to them. I think the staff is probably got to be the easiest because
I
there's
don't
really
know.
not a lot.
The
Like
staff you need to have people with you because it's a lobbing attack. So if you
it's
have
true.
enemies that are getting in your face, you kind of suck.
It is true because it's like a it's not a full on homing shot by any means. It's pretty forgiving, but it's not forgiving at all if they're coming at you. Like if you're
Yeah,
trying to run from enemies and like stop and take a shot at them, run and take a shot, it absolutely doesn't work. So you're right, you do need to fight with people, but outside of that, it's pretty easy. You just
it
kind of
is.
tap X a bunch.
It's like a grenade. It like shoots. It does like a big splash AOE damage.
Yeah, pretty much. And then and the nice thing about it is I think people appreciate you being around because you get that Y attack so quickly that you can just be constantly slowing enemies down.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know if we want to get into the whole graphics and audio and everything like that. I will say I do like its art style. It's very dark, but also not. It does a nice job, kind of doing almost like Renaissance era painting. Whenever it does like the load screen, So I do like the art style of it. But when you actually look at like a lot of these enemies, they're pretty kind of grotesque, but nothing too bad that like I never felt bad playing in front of my 5-year-old. Like it's not bloody or anything like that.
Now I have a point about this though.
Sure.
You're fighting back against God per the story, and I don't know, but at least the stereotype of what like you'd be fighting angels. Shouldn't you be fighting like angels, not weird floating skull heads or in skull
I mean,
spiders
the
and stuff?
last level is Paradiso. That's probably where you fight angels. I
Maybe.
will say in Purgatory, there's a
I
lot
guess yeah,
more
if you're
angel.
purgatory.
There's a lot more angel-esque looking enemies.
Okay, so
Like you're
the
fighting kind
enemies.
of like cherub looking enemies mostly.
All right, I guess that makes sense. And I guess now that I'm thinking about it, right? If you're in what year? So the first one's Inferno. I
Yeah.
don't I don't know fully Dante's Inferno, but I think that's like the early rings of hell, and I think that's where like it's like physical torture. So you have like the big melee guys, and you can see their skins all cut up, and the bow and arrow guys, I think they're all like cut up and stuff too. So I
Yeah,
think
which
that
the
actually
final
probably makes sense
layer
now.
of hell, which was what, 7 or 11? I don't know, but either way, it's meant for betrayers, and it's frozen. So they still kind of stuck with that, with Lucifer being in kind of an ice world when you fight him. That he's supposed to be the final layer
Okay,
of hell.
interesting. So okay, maybe I'm back on board now. I think that actually does make sense.
Yeah, but I don't know. This is just gonna be a short episode. Like I said, we just kind of wanted to talk about it, give a preview. Um, but yeah, so I gotta say, overall though, I'm greatly looking forward to more 33 Immortals. Like I said, I played the beta before. I'm probably close to maybe 10 hours I put in this from the
Dang.
beta and playing this now. Because yeah, and I've been liking it a lot. Like I like the grind of it. I will say the only thing that kind of stinks, just for a forewarning, the runs are pretty long. So if you're doing a good run, like when you're in Inferno and you have to kill 12 of those dungeons, it takes a while because only 4 open at a time. And so once you
Three,
kill
I
those
thought.
4, no, I think
Is
it's
it
4 because
four?
there's 4. There's 3 different events that happen. You might be right.
I don't know. I honestly, I'd trust you. You've played more than me, but I thought it was three. But either way, it's
Yeah,
not a
but
big
either way, yeah, they're
difference.
not all open. So the game, like specifically, it takes you time. All those first set of dungeons have to be killed, then another set will be open, and then another set. So it takes time. But that being said, you can quit mid match, and there's no penalty. Because there's 33 people, and if you're just like, I gotta go, you can quit. As far as I can tell, I think you still keep all your currency and everything, so you don't have to just focus that entire run and just stick with it. Um, it's easy to kind of party up with people. Like I said, unfortunately, me and Keith never got to play around. Hopefully, we can play some tonight. But yeah, I feel like this would be great to at least have a couple friends on voice chat to coordinate your co-op attacks and do all these things. I like a lot what's here so far. I think the grind is just enough for me that I'm going to keep going with it. Um, I hope they don't take too long updating it. I would love to get more weapons, which I'm assuming with the cover art that there's going to be a mace, a crossbow, a battle axe, and
Oh yeah,
yeah, because you can see on the cover that there's like other people with. Oh, one guy is like a whip, like a thorn whip. So
that would be kind of cool.
yeah, so hopefully Thunder Lotus here doesn't take too long updating this game. But yeah, if I had to give it a score right now, I think I'd give it an 85. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Oh,
So I
as far as
definitely.
bugs go, though, my game did hard crash on me a couple times. Only when my run ended. That was the other thing. Whenever you finish a run or lose, it actually has a scoreboard too. Nothing crazy, but like you can at least kind of see how you did compared to the 33 people that were there, which I thought was kind of a cool thing. And it kind of breaks it down to how you got scored. But yeah, luckily my run was done and I was trying to go to the hub world and my game hard crashed on me. Those are the only bugs I've encountered so far.
So I haven't run into anything so far, which I'm perfectly fine with. But yeah, I've definitely played less than you have, but overall I was having a lot of fun with it. I think I want to play with the co-op because I think to a certain degree, like it would be fun to coordinate, but I found, at least in the times that I was playing it, the biggest things for co-op that you really need are people activating your skills, and as long
Yeah,
as you're kind of just sticking with people, they recognize it and they try to activate them pretty quickly. The only other thing is being revived if you get downed, I guess, or reviving other people for that matter. But
yeah,
I think it's that's my favorite thing about it, and I mentioned it already, but really just kind of summarizing to what I think is my favorite is really there's just about nothing you can do that isn't at least advancing the game for everybody else. So just it doesn't even encourage, well, it actually does encourage cooperative play, but really it just doesn't discourage, or it does a very good job of discouraging trolling, anything of like it. There's no value to it. So people just in theory aren't going to do it. Like, what are you going to do? Get 32 people together to just screw over one person and leave a match? Like, that person's done in 2 minutes and they carry on with their life. Even like that's more work on you. There's just really no way for you to negatively impact someone's game on purpose, and even on accident. It's just, it's a really great setup of a game. It's a ton of fun. And I like, immediately I've already told a bunch of people, like a couple of coworkers or former. But I've already told people about it. I'm like, we've got to play this game together. This would be a lot of fun to play together. And I think part of it would just be having people to talk to while you're going through it, because
yeah,
it kind of takes a little bit of time. And I was kind of thinking like, this is a lot to grind. And that's what stopped me from playing too much by myself. But I still played like 4 or 5 runs, which is almost like 2 hours just sitting there playing with nobody in party. So it's easily playable by yourself.
yeah,
But yeah, I think as far as roguelikes go, the actual roguelike nature of it is pretty bare bones right now. But the co-op gameplay to it and the way that the gameplay is set up is just so unique that all of the actual roguelite elements, as far as all the items and getting all beefed up and being the overpowered unit out there just dismantling a game, you don't have that as much. It's a little bit more balanced in terms of your individual character, but it's still just a ton of fun. And I've been already recommending it to people left and right. So if you like roguelites at all, this style of game, absolutely check it out. And even if you don't, I don't know, it's kind of fun.
yeah.
But I think I'd go with like an 88 for a current score, and I'm really hoping for more. Maybe this can be my game of the year by the end of the year if they can move things along.
I think it's crazy. I forgot to mention this. This game, to honestly, I don't know if you would agree with this. I don't think this game would exist if it wasn't for Game Pass. Because if you think about it,
Maybe.
who would buy this? Like this isn't obviously a dig at the studio. Obviously, they came out with Spiritfarer, which was a good game. I know they took a handful of awards home, but I don't know. It wasn't obviously like this huge following. And so to have this studio then come up with this game of like, oh, you need 33 people, I feel like it'd be so hard to get into lobbies and matches if it wasn't for Game Pass. But now that Game Pass is here, it's almost pseudo free to play, but not. So I think it's crazy because this is a very unique style type of game, and this is like, and I don't think it could exist if it wasn't for Game Pass. But
Yeah, at the very least, not without being a full on like free to play live service
yeah,
of some sort.
which I forgot to mention, there is some microtransactions. There is a shop. It's not really micro. Yeah, I guess you can still kind of categorize it as. But so you naturally can unlock cosmetics for your character, but there is a shop that will sell a set for each of the 4 weapons, and they're kind of nice. They're like 550 each. I think I might buy one because I don't know if I mentioned this. So we covered Tectonica, Keith. I absolutely love that game. I think
I don't want to say it to you
I
because
know.
you told me already. I've been trying to be nice.
I think that studio went bankrupt. I because of that I bought Tectonica because I like they came out with that 1.0 patch.
Your $10 is gonna save the studio, Andrew.
No, but I'm at least saying thank
I know,
you
no, I totally get
because
it. I'm not.
I have
I'm
spent
just making
so
fun of you.
much time on that game. I'm actually replaying it right now. With my 5-year-old daughter, she wants to keep playing it. My 5-year-old daughter enjoys Tectonica, Keith. So that's why I might buy a skin pack for this because I'm really trying to support these indie studios a bit more because It's like, I like this game. I want you guys to keep going, even though I don't really care for the cosmetics that they have currently available. But I think I might support them. I don't want another great game that I like to go bankrupt before it hits 1.0.
I can appreciate that.
If you're listening to this, buy Tectonica. Maybe the studio can still go. They haven't officially announced bankruptcy, so support the studio. But anyway, do you have any final thoughts, Keith?
No, I think that about sums it up.
All right. Thank you all for joining us. Please make sure you follow us on our Discord or Twitter, YouTube, all the things. I will have our link tree in the show notes. Come join us. Say hi. Me and Keith love talking to people on our Discord. Aaron's been doing a good job streaming on our YouTube. Me and Keith will be trying to get on there a bit more too as well. Would love to do a stream of this, Keith, to do some 33 Immortals. But yeah, so make sure you check it out. Go to GamePassGrabBag.com. It'll bring you to our link tree with all the links to all our stuff. I've been your hardcore gamer host, Andrew. You can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird01952. Come on, send me a message, say hi. Maybe we can play some games sometime.
I've been Keith. Just being here as always. Coughing the episode away.
All right, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. We love you all. We'll see you again next week.
Bye.
He hung up.